Let me just put my tweet out because I know it takes a few minutes for folks to get here if they're wanting to join us live. So we're going to go over a few things before we get started on today's tour. Just a reminder, there is maintenance today. Usual time, I think it's 4 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. CET. I think it's due to last about 3 hours and 30 minutes. I think that's what the announcement said. So heads up on that. Also, for those of you that have been following along with my dentist adventure, things did go well last week. And then I ended up, well, I had to go Monday to have it finished off. It was like the root canal was on last week, and then Monday they did the little cap or filling thing on top. But I have to go back today, directly after the stream this morning, because I have a partial denture, and there's a wire that actually fits between the newly capped tooth and another tooth next to it, and the wire's not sitting proper, so the thing is really uncomfortable. It's difficult to eat with it kind of wonky as it is. So I have to go in today to have the dentist file a little bit more off to try and make room for the wire that fits between the teeth. So again, for someone who absolutely despises going to the dentist, I'm having to make a record number of visits this year. And so yeah, I'm pretty upset about that. I mean, I know it's necessary, but with the deadening, I couldn't feel how it felt. According to her, it looked fine, but it really it's not. So it's just one of those things. And the joy thing is that in the middle of next month, I have to go through all of this again for the other side. Because again, I broke the fillings on each side. It's the same exact tooth directly across from each other, a week apart. So I'm having to get this one all fixed, and then they'll go to do this one. So yeah, it's just been a total joy ride for me, because I absolutely hate, I mean, it's nothing personal against the dentist. They're really nice. They're sweet people, but I just hate it. I hate the needles. I hate the drilling. I hate the smell of the place. It's very nerve-wracking. So if I feel, seem a little out of it more than usual to this morning, it's probably because I have that in the back of my head that I have to go to the dentist today, and so I'm not very calm about that. Plus, I do have a bit of sinus and throat issues this morning. I think it's the weather. So apologies in advance if I start hacking up a lung. It's not to gross anyone out. It just happens to be one of those things that I'm having to deal with. Let's see. Also, I got a little bit of a write-up from the builder of this particular community that we're going to be touring today. I just happened to be checking it out last night to kind of make sure I didn't miss any of the interior parts of the plots. I usually go ahead and I don't actually like tour the place myself ahead of time. I just kind of hunt down like the bunker houses and stuff, because a lot of builders like to kind of hide the entrance, or the path to them is a little tricky, and I want to make sure I don't miss those. So I usually check out those in advance just to make sure I know where to find them so that we don't miss them in the actual tour. But I happened to be wandering around on the community and ran into the builders, so I chatted with them last night, found out a little bit of information about the plot, so we'll be going over that here shortly. And good morning, TW. I do want to mention I finally found the notes that you left me and the messages. They didn't show up for whatever reason. I kept looking for them, and I guess I just didn't know where to find the messages that you sent, but I did spot them this morning. I want to thank you for sending me those links and stuff. I will be adding those to the resources section on my Twitch channel page sometime this weekend, probably, because that's the main time I have a little extra free time that I can dedicate to updating stuff like that. So just wanted to let you know, and I'm anxious to look at the in the one in particular, the toilets of Nexus. I thought that was hilarious because it's kind of an inside joke on our stream that I kind of obsess over builders that do their own custom built toilets, because I really can't stand the regular one that they have available as a decor piece. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. But for those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about, TW sent some links to some YouTube videos, a Discord thing that they've got set up. It's all NA side from what I understand. Because while I might be one of the more consistent uh, tour guides for housing, um, there have been others in the past that have set up videos or done live streams touring plots for themselves or for a guild group or whatever. And I usually try to link those because, again, it's extra promotion for them, and you know, they have their own perspective and ways of doing the tours. I tend to like yap on a lot about the custom building, and maybe I don't get a lot of insider information from the builders themselves, because I usually just kind of like what I call ninja visit. I don't let people know that I'm coming to tour their plots necessarily. Though some of you that come and visit know when it's kind of happening, but generally speaking, most builders don't know that I'm doing this, and so I might not get a lot of the insider info that others do if they're real close to those that they're touring the plots of. So anyway, I would love to add that to the information in case anyone wants to check out other people's house tours that they have done. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, TW, Fliss, Poi. Glad everybody could join. Today's community tour is for Mystwood Forest. It's on Jabbit EU. It is one of the honorable mention winners for the Community Showdown competition that Carbine hosted the end of last year. We are still going through those. It does take a long time to get through a lot of these community tours. We've spent some streams going through a single plot and have it last for several hours. So to think that we're compacting 5 plots worth of building into one stream, that's obviously going to be kind of extensive. From what I've seen, this one's definitely going to require a follow-up stream tomorrow. Depending on how lost I get, it may end up being 3. We may have to extend it on into Friday, but I'm going to try and wrap it up into 2 streams, one today and then one tomorrow morning. So just a heads up on that. Let's see what else. This is a community built by a single builder. You might know them as Thiefia from the WildStar forums, but they explained to me that their mains on Jabbit are Kayan or Kayan, Twilight Hunter, and Varash Lightning Storm. You'll obviously see their other alt names, but those 2 are probably the most well-known for theirs in the game itself. I did ask them if there was any information that they wanted me to pass along as far as like their favorite part of the plot and stuff like that. I didn't like do an official interview kind of thing. I just said, if there's anything you want me to throw out there. They did say on top of the plat required to open up a community, it has an initial cost to unlock it. They said on top of that, they guesstimate easily an additional 50 plat for all of the decor that they use. And they kind of noted that most of that probably went to the color shifting options to repaint a lot of the decor to match whatever theme or painting scheme that they wanted to go towards in given areas of the plots. They didn't specify how long it took them to make it, but I think they specifically aimed for a full community build for the showdown, and I think we were given what, about a month between the announcement of the competition and then the actual judging days. I'm not really sure on that because I didn't participate, so I kind of just let that go over my head. But I think it was a month, maybe less. I know it was a big crunch time, and there were a lot of builders complaining about how so little time was given, especially for those that wanted to do it all completely from scratch. That's just kind of an unreasonable amount of time to say, here, build 5 plots worth of stuff in an amount of time that a lot of us take for just a single plot build. But anyway, they said they kind of had a head start because one of the plots was already built. They just had to kind of integrate it into the rest of the community. 2 of them were works in progress, so they basically only had 2 plots that they had to build from scratch in the short amount of time that they were given, in addition to the community parts, which is all of the in-betweeny bits. So yeah, I did see that they noted that they gave me a printout for me to read through, that this is a work in progress still. So there are things that they're changing, adding, maybe removing here and there. Continually. It's probably one of those things where, a lot of us joke that a build is never actually done, because every time a new decor piece comes out, or a new idea pops in, some new fandangled way of creating water, or some other kind of feature that can influence changes that a builder might make to an existing plot or community of plots. So they just wanted to note that there may be things that were there during the actual competition time. Whoops, I keep zoning in on that hanging over stuff. But there may be things that change, that suddenly appear. So we might run across a few areas that seems under-decorated, just as a warning. I will note that one of the reasons why, again, I checked out the place last night was I was trying to find out if there were any bunker houses or prefab homes that I didn't want to miss. As of right now, it may change later, but as of right now, there's only 2 plots that have interiors. There's 1 plot that has an interior that's completely inaccessible, and the other 2 are not actually decorated. So again, that may change later on, but as of this moment, that is the case. Let's see. Yeah, so basically, Thefia sent me an overview, a sort of quickie run through of the first couple of plots. I think they meant to send one for the first 3, but I only got the information for the first 2. So we're going to definitely try and get through those today, and then we'll see where that leaves us for tomorrow. I will say I'm going to do my best not to get lost today, because it is one of those jungly type themes, and according to Thefia, there is multiple paths between all the plots. So I'm just going to have to be very careful about finding all the little nooks and crannies. I've got notes again that show like the key highlighted bits of each plot, but whether or not I actually can find them all is another question. So let's get started. This is Mystwood Forest by Thefia. Again, the actual character names, that's the forum name that they're known by. The other character names is Kayan or Kayan, what is it? Twilight Hunter, and then Varash Lightning Storm. Those will be the 2 main ones that we'll be visiting today. So as you can see, very jungly. The majority of the kind of stone bits is upside down ruby-eyed thinker heads. They're real big favorites for jungle type plots because they have that viney bits that comes down. I say upside down, I guess these are actually right side up since it's the back. Um, that's where you're getting a lot of this mossy overhang. It's from that particular item. You'll see that as well along the river item, and well, it's not really showing up there. Then there's a combination of, you can tell these little brown poofs were actually above the actual ground level for the plot. I think these are a combination of upside down umbrella trees, upside down snowy hills, and the protostar insta hills. You'll see some of those throughout. You can kind of tell those definitely because of, well, they're more rounded. I believe that's what this is, this little particular mound. And every now and then you'll see little lines pop up. It's like the edges of like the upside down snowy hills and stuff. It's like the seam doesn't quite match. Again, it might be just my poor graphics card, but anyway. So you come in on the community entrance. You can visit the individual plots if you know the plot owner's name. You'll zap into wherever they are located. But if you just come in through the community way, it always puts you here. And you can see how they've kind of built this in as if it's an entrance, a portal of its own. So they've got like a soul frost well, and then built rocks around it to kind of bring out kind of an orany feel. Thief, you did say that most of the plots on this particular community are fashioned of a sort to resemble Celestion and Walderrun. So you'll see some elements that really bring those particular world zones to mind, because there is like a taurine zone in this particular community that we'll come across later. And really looks like it could have just been taken right out of the game world and plopped onto the community here. They got the Celestion root decor. This again, this part here is the thinkerhead. You can kind of tell just by the textures. And then, of course, they've got a lot of the critters. There's a little Jabbit NPC sitting out there. If you're wondering about the sparklies, again, that's the buoyant blue crystal. It's great for kind of like the will-o-wisp look if you're kind of going for a magical, mystical forest jungle type of effect, some kind of magic. It's also great for spooky plots as well. It has kind of a ghosty feel too, mostly because of the smoke that comes with it. Okay, so we're just going to kind of dive off. Again, I just pick a route, and I always kind of start off with these, unless the actual route of the plot is mapped differently. But as far as I can tell, this is pretty open running, so I'm just going to wander around like I usually do. Yeah. Again, one of the new NPCs. This particular plant and many others that you'll see throughout come from the new, I think it's the underwater set. I'm going to be flashing back and forth through my map just to kind of get an idea of where I'm at so that we don't miss any bits. Again, the atmosphere, the smoky bits, these globbies here, I think those come from, yeah, the poison spore plant or tree or whatever, shrub. The rest of the atmosphere, like the smoke, I think that just comes from the smoke decor pack. Let's see, I don't want to go this way. Again, I'm probably going to miss a lot of stuff, which I'm hoping not to do, but you can just see the variety of plants that they're using, and the color shifting I think helps just add to that. Now again, these are thinker heads for the edging and for the stone. I think these are the bottoms of it, the chin of it. Excuse me. And then the green part with the shrooms, that's the top of the head. Same thing they're using for this part here. That's all thinker heads. So here we have a little shrine kind of thing going on. The exonite tree. Again, these floating stones, they come from the arc. Let's see, what's it called? Shoot, it just kind of flew out my brain there. Arcane Sanctum, I think is what it's called. Something Sanctum. Alpha Sanctum, maybe. It's one of those. It starts with an A, I think. If you complete the instance, you get one of these straight away, and then it unlocks the rest of them in your housing vendor. So I like those kind of ways of obtaining decor or access to decor, is when you can do an unlock, kind of like the Starfall fireworks set that you can get. That was the exonite tree. Let's see, back down. Again, these are some of those new plants, the leafy bits and the orange bits. Here's some of those new waterfalls. Awesome animation. They're a big favorite for a lot of builders. They're tricky as far as, because this is actually like a flat piece, and you have to just land it just right so that it looks naturally laid out. I've come across some where maybe they've, especially on the top part where the stones are, if they don't lay the stones just so, it looks a little like off kilter or something. But you can see they did a really nice job. Again, all of this part, that's thinker heads. That's a big element, at least on this first plot that we're checking out. The little island is thinker heads. You can see they're using a lot of that buzzbing, I think it is. I don't know if that comes from a decor set itself or what, but it's a nice addition to the mangrove tree. And I can jump up here. Really nice water feature. You can see all of the stair step effect. And this is one of the camps, like a crash ship, and then they've got the people set up at their little tents and stuff. I like how they're using like the roots of the tree as part of the roofing for the little tent area. But one of the things we don't want to miss is right here under this waterfall is actually a door. And it leads into a cave system. Now, most of the cave, I think, is the purple rock arches. Doesn't look very purple here, but I don't know if that's because they actually color shifted it, or the lighting of the actual plot can manipulate colors quite well, so it's either or. And if we go, I think it's this way. Keep going kind of to the left, we'll come across another door. Do a much more narrow little setting here. And that brings us to, it looks kind of Eldeny here. It reminds me again of a real world entrance to like an interior for Elden Sanctum or something. This brings you to the bunker house for this particular plot. So we're going to go ahead and go inside that. I love the I don't know what you call it, the buttresses or something. I'm not sure. The supports for this carved out cavern, cave, mining route, or whatever you want to call it. But for the interior, we're going to be looking for the miners' camp. There's a treasure room and an Elden facility. So there's three main things. We might run into other stuff, but just look at the way they put it together. And again, remember, if you've ever put together, messed with a bunker house, you know how big and open that space is, and it's just crazy to see how people divide the space up to make it look like something totally different. This doesn't feel like a bunker house to me. But look at the nice way they've laid out the stones, the stepping stones that you get from the Starcon Basin. And then, of course, looks like more of the purple rock arches and such. Got the little camp here. There's a little shrine thing. This is that item that I talk about, and I usually call it like a urinal because that's what it kind of reminds me of. It's an alcove something or other, alcove render or render alcove, one of those. There's two different versions. A lot of people like it for if you flip it over, the stone has a nice texture. We've seen some people use it in very interesting ways. But they've got this one set up with the jack-o'-lantern candy bowl and stuff like that. But look at this bit here. There's like multiples of those rock arches to make this interesting little wall for the formation there. Okay, let's go this way and let's go. Again, I'm hoping I don't miss anything, but yeah. This is a lot of the Soulfrost / Osun bits from Arctera. You see a lot of their little braziers, the leaking tanks. This part here, there's like a whole set of metal bits that you can get, even like from trim and everything that can create this cold and metal kind of structuring. Little treasure area here. If we follow the river, now the river itself appears to be just a waterfall. It's laid flat and it gives you I don't think it's an actual winding river part. It's just an oversized waterfall, I think. Again, I think it's swirly rocks for part of this, stepping stones for the majority. The little hole here, I suspect it's either something like the cellar entrance and they've just covered up the wall edges, or any of the dark pieces like the backside of the platform thing. I can't think of it. There's the maintenance platform, but it's kind of more of just a really dark gray. Then there's the, shoot, I can't even think of the name. Not corrugated. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. But if you really want something like pitch black, we did see that if you recolor an Arctera formation, it really turns that like pitch black dark. That might be good for an entrance for a cave or something. Now again, if you're into the Interactables feature on Catius Builder Toolkit, aka KBT, and you're doing, you know, a little adventure with a role play troupe or something, as long as the person that owns the plot is part of it or on the plot to keep it active, you can actually make this so that if you hit the lever switch, the door will open or close according to how the lever switch is situated. So that's always fun. This here, you can't actually open as far as I know. I think it's a combination of the ornate chest. I think it has that little, it's the one that a lot of people like use for like bank vaults and stuff because it has that golden door. Looks like it's been recolored a bit to better match like an elven type of build. Again, lever switch tends to make me think that they might be set up for an actual role play troupe. I love the way they do the walls and stuff. It looks really nice. Most of these I think are glacier bits or icicles. Again, I think you get most of that from Arctera stuff. And then here's the Elden part. I think these you get from the webbed wood, I think is what it's called, the fab kit with the big spider that you have to avoid and kill all the eggs or something. I think that's one of the rewards for completing that challenge. You would think it'd be the other cobwebs, but I think those come from just random world drops and such. Datascape windows for some of this. I forget what this dome part is called, but that's a single piece. And then, of course, you got the Taurine stairs. Just a lot going on. A lot of the screens. These were available off the actual housing vendor for a short time, but they are now part of a screen decor pack. You get this one and then multiples of the square screens with the animated bloop bloops coming off of it. That's not the technical name for it, but they come in like, I don't know, 4 or 5 different colors. Obviously, that's kind of a moot point now with the color shifting, but there you go. A lot of hanging cables. I like how it's all connected up as if it's actually part of the thing here. Wow, there are just so many paths to go through. Again, I'm hoping I don't miss anything. But again, it's very reminiscent of an actual Elden facility that you would find in the game. It's set up very similar. Like with the hanging cables and the sparking wire coming down. I think those are called drooping cables, if I remember right. These are the cryopods for Dominion style. Kind of creepy, as if someone's going to open and if you're wondering about all this green lighting that's coming from these Elden antennas, they have that really nice creepy light. A lot of folks like to use them for their spooky houses, again, because the shades usually tends to be kind of greenish and orangish, and that's a really, it has a nice texture to it with the pattern of the light itself showing up. Okay, did I get everywhere? I think so. Back it up. Here's that one piece. I don't know what this is called. I don't even know where it comes from, but we've seen it used in a lot of the plots we've been visiting recently. all one piece. Some of them just show it so that just this part shows. I have no idea what it's called though. The round part though, that's the technophage. It's technophage something. Not maybe it's platform. Not the door, because the door is like hollow. You can actually go in and out of it, but that one's, I think it's the platform. Okay. Back it up a little bit. Did we go in this one? Okay, we went there. I think that's it for this part. I'm totally not sure. That's the treasure room. That's the shrine. Okay, I think that's it in here. Again, my apologies if I miss stuff. I strongly encourage folks to come and visit these places in person, because obviously my videos and any screenshots you might see of the plots really just do not do them justice. Let's see, did I miss? Okay, no, this is the second door, right. And the little smoking part, this leads to the where we came in. I need to check out this part here. See, here's another door. And it looks like the crystals have been recolored. They're usually, I think it's purple or blue, and they're kind of like a gross yellow. So here's another little shrine bit. I think that was all for this particular cave. Again, you access it through the waterfall, pretty much right at the start. If you start on this particular plot. So if you come to the plot, just remember that at the very first little crash site here in the upper left, that gives you access to the cave through the waterfall, and then that leads you all the way underneath to the bunker house and such. Again, most of the items are pretty straightforward. Okay, let me hop on here because I don't think I can jump up that high without some help. Here we have a little, I guess it's a moody camp. I don't know where some of this comes from. It's a nice, it was probably a kit or something that you can get from the shop. A lot of people like these because they're interactable. You get some splash gore going on. It's pretty disgusting. But it's always fun to have that kind of item around. Again, I don't know where this one comes from. I know there's some new totems that we've been spotting, but I don't know if that's part of it or not. see if I can get up at the tippy top here. Just keeps going up and up and up. Again, you can just see how the forest itself is just layered and layered. And again, most of this is thinkerheads. There's a lot of the weeping willow trees and the mangroves and such. Some of the celestion growths and bits. You can see just how complicated the bit is. Here's that exonite tree that we visited at the start. You can see some of like the elden bits. I don't trust myself getting over there, but probably fall. But you can see just how natural it's been stacked up and layered to the point where you don't have that feeling that it's player made. It just looks like it came this way. The amount of time to layer it in like this, I can't imagine. Again, I'm like the worst with landscaping, so to see this set up so nicely is definite impressive to me. Again, you can tell it's kind of like multiple stones here. Great use of the new waterfalls. Let's see, can I go up this way, maybe? Ooh, a fall. No, better not. So there's the little moody village. Again, you get to that via the mossy covered limb or tree branch or whatever. Yeah, exactly, Poi. Because I've seen some that, you know, they had water features to start with using the older version of the waterfalls, and then they had to basically rebuild it from scratch to integrate the newer ones because, you know, obviously they're shaped differently and, you know, obviously wanted to show off the nice animation of the how the water lands at the bottom and stuff. And yeah, I don't think I have the patience for it to do it properly. Okay, I'm kind of coming at this backwards, but there's that actual path that I can follow. And this brings us down to one of the fab kits. So you can see just how raised the ground is. Here's the actual ground level, and we've been way up above it. That's why they have room for that cave system down below via the waterfall door. But this is the, I'm not even sure what it's called, matriarch something or other. It comes with a daily quest if it's, you know, yours. You can do a daily quest, and if you do it long enough or often enough, it'll end up unlocking one of these little Pumera cubs as an actual pet that you can have. I don't think there's anything else here. Little broken, or I guess it's not broken, but Elden thingy. Yeah, exactly. That's probably one of the reasons why I haven't bothered with it myself. But I wish you much luck on that, Fliss, because you know, just working on a single plot is time consuming in and of itself. To imagine trying to blend together 5 different uh, bits and make it all a nice cohesive grouping, I don't even want to think about. Forget where this comes from. I don't know if it's an actual item you can purchase through one of the reputation vendors or if it's dropped from something. A lot of the newer items I'm kind of just totally blank on. But I love these little statues here. Again, these are some of the new bits. I think someone said from Madame Faye, perhaps, had some of the totems and these weird little carved rocks. Come up here. I think this is the one that leads to the taurine section. Yeah. And you could probably, they said that there's a lot of visitors to this particular plot that often miss this because the path is kind of off to the side. But I think if you are out into the area and happen to look around, you'd probably spot this and wonder how to get to it and eventually find your way. It's usually how I tend to find some of these areas. I just kind of wander around enough. But you can see how it really feels like some of those taurine areas in Waldarun. At least it does to me. Again, these little mounds, the little raised mounds, those are thinker heads. Amazing what a single item can do. Now, this does kind of come off of the actual plot and blend into the community areas. So from what I was told, this actually leads out to the next plot over, I think, this one, if you were to follow it. So again, it's an alternate route if you don't want to go the other way. I like the little huts. It's just the curved walls with the hay piles on top. Simple, but you know, it's cute. If you're going for a village type of look and you want a simplified way of being able to just make lots of little huts, this is a good way. Some of them use the tiki roofs. That's a big favorite. This one kind of also combines the rugs. We've seen some that actually just use the rugs entirely, so it looks like uh, an animal skin covering, almost like a teepee, I guess. Though maybe not in a teepee shape. These are Galeras stone walls, if you're wondering about that, and then a combination of various taurine statues. This one actually comes with this water that's part of the decor piece itself, from what I recall. And the taurine heads, if you use just the backside, a lot of people like to use that for oversized stones in like caves, or if they get really huge and where you don't see the one side, it makes it great for like mountains and such to add little different textures and things because it has a little bit of moss on the back as well. This here I think is another thinker head. I think. It's really hard to tell sometimes. See how these aren't decorated like the other ones are? This is probably some of those that's been newly added. Also, it could be that maybe they're kind of limited on decor. So, again, thinker heads for most of the moss bits. I love these purple bushes here, purple blue bushes. They remind me of Dr. Seuss for some reason. And these look like peacock feathers. It's again part of that I think it's the underwater set. We went there, go this way. Just kind of wandering around. Again, uh, it's probably easy for someone, especially like me, to get lost and not cover everything. But I'm gonna try just kind of following the path here. I think this is leading off to the next one, and I don't want to go there yet. So let's just remember where that is. There's still part of the river feature and everything that I want to get to. But yeah, see, if you'd managed to miss that Taurine area entrance, if you're sitting here, you would see it, the stairs. You just think, oh, there's something there. That's the Moody Camp up above. Let's go back down. I believe there's an entrance here. This is just before we cross the bridge that spans the water. There's a little treasure room. And the bridge itself is just regular stones. A couple of layers, I think, of them. And this little thing, I think it's, I'm not really sure what's being used for the base of this. I don't know if it's one of the wood pieces from like the log pile, not the log pile, but the firewood that's in the basket or whatever. I've used it. It kind of looks like usually I don't oversize it this much, so it's possibly that. I don't think it's the driftwood or deadwood tree. I think that's got a different kind of shape to it, but anyway. Again, I think this leads to this here I think is where you would actually zone in. If you came to the plot individually, you'd start off right here. And then this part, again, leads you to the next plot. This way. Make sure we hit everything. Again, you can tell like these parts, I think these are the Starcom Basin stepping stones, and they recolored them a brown. Now you can have these nice brown rocks. If you don't want to go that route, paying for the color shifting stuff, again, those light posts, I think it's either Falcon or Draken, one of those, has some stones on one of the light posts that you can use. We saw that in last week's, I think. I think we were here earlier. Yeah, this is part of the community part. Okay, we don't want to go that way. That's the north plot. We want to go more south. So again, there's a lot of routes to the same destination. Let me go over the list though for the first plot. Make sure we got everything. There's the Hugel Shrine. Ah, we didn't find the witch doctor's cabin. Let me back up. I knew I'd miss it. I think that's over by the bridge. And Thief, you showed it to me, and I don't really remember how to get to it. Oh, gosh. Up here, maybe? Shoot. No, I don't think that's it. Oh, gosh. Where is that thing? That's the Moody deal, I think. Yeah, that was the Moody. Let's see. Around here somewhere, people's. Maybe this is it. No. Shoot. If he's going to be upset with me because they showed it to me yesterday and I'm not going to remember how to get to it yet. Let me see, what does it say? South of the river on the hill. South of the river. Great. Find the river. South of the river on the hill. Let's see if I can see it from up high. There's so many hills and there's a long river. South of the river. Okay, I'm looking at the river. It's back this way somewhere? Honestly, I'm not sure. I feel bad because I know they showed it to me and I just don't remember how to get to it. Crud. So many plants don't have collision and I end up running into the ones that do. I honestly don't know where it is. It's gonna frustrate me because I know they showed it to me, but there is a little cabin here somewhere. Oh gosh. I don't want to spend too much time trying to hunt it down, but I feel bad because that's a river. But again, this is one of the give and takes for having a kind of a foresty type setup. It leads to confused visitors like myself that Oh, ticking me off because I don't remember where it was. It was like the first thing they showed me, and leave it to me to mess it up. Well, if I can get them to clarify later, or if I find it later, I'll come back. Because again, we'll be here tomorrow as well. I just don't want to get stuck on that any more than I already have. I think we come through there. Now I'm like thoroughly lost. There you go, the other way. Okay, so yeah, this is the entrance to the one, and that can lead to the second one, I think. Yeah. Let me note that down so that I remember to check for it later. Okay, so we're coming in on the second one. That was, I think it's Farash's plot over here. You see, this is all part of the community zone between the two plots. Yeah, I think this is part of that terrain camp from the original one. So again, there's lots of ways to and from. Here we have the Emerald Refuge by Varash Lightning Storm. Just kind of running down the center here. I mean, even though they have a lot of it walled off between the two, they still have access to each other in various points. Like here's another one. I think this is another access to the terrain one. So if I'd come down the stairs at that one high corner part, that would have been brought us here, which is good, you know, because you can always kind of reorient yourself. But again, it's kind of mazy. So yeah, more waterfall features. This bridge, I think it's Brooka's Bridge. It's kind of a rare drop. If you can't get it, there are rope bridges that you can use and then just add your own little accents. My eye is twitching, that's why I keep rubbing it. It's starting to bug me. This has more of a celestial feel to me. Nice little wooden 2x4s for this little cropping. I like the little house hut thing here. Triangle pieces for a lot of it. And it's clever how, you know, it's kind of built into the tree that's there, but they've got it boxed off so it looks just like it's part of it. Doesn't look too intrusive. And then they've got this part down below as well. Again, a lot of landscaping thoughtfulness went into this, to get it from like here you have all this tiered stone, and you got the hills and the grass part, and then more stone, and then you have this like little valley set up. There's the main house, the prefab home, the Oren one. Oops, hitting the wrong button there. Walking all weirdly. A lot of attention to detail, and like this here where they've recolored the grasses to kind of show that the shroom area is like a little bit different than the regular ground. Just little things like that make it interesting. Kind of not talking a whole lot, but there's like, I mean, I can only ooh and ah over it so much without getting too repetitive. But there's not a whole lot to describe as far as the things that it's put together. I mean, I could try and name all of the different, whoops, we've already entered a different part here. I'll back it up. I could try and go through and name in all the different trees and stuff. I wouldn't be able to because I'm just not that smart to remember all of them, but uh, a lot of this is just meant to be admired, without picking apart. I mean, you can see how they've used the grasses cleverly to kind of lay out a path, a clear, defined path that you would follow. Um, the different stones that they use for the rock features, the variety of trees. I mean, some of these trees I think are actually meant for like desert areas, but they've integrated them nicely into this particular zone, and you just don't feel that they're out of place. We've mentioned that before on other plots that are similarly done, where you have like underwater stuff, space type of plants, and it doesn't matter. They all kind of just blend in, either by just their placement or the coloring that they're given. It just works okay. Yes, I'm kind of checking out if I can jump higher up this. Whoops, no! I was so close in succeeding there. I totally messed it up. Ugh. Try that again. If I fail this time, we'll just move on. I was just trying to see if I could get to a good spot for like for someone that's trying to do screenshots or whatever. The higher you can go, the better. Sometimes if you're looking for a good overview shot. Let's see. I don't think I can get any higher than that. Yeah. I keep getting stuck on the little rock. Whoop, dang it, I fell right off, didn't I? Awesome. The world's worst jumper for sure. But like here, you can get a good shot of part of the village. Just look, I mean, they've got pine trees and then the weeping willows, there's mangroves, but then you also have, I saw a lot of desert plants and shrubs from, multiple zones. There's some Glarus bits. Some are recolored. Look how big that statue is. That's enormous. Okay. We went across one bridge. Let's try the other one over here. Again, I like how they've got the little fence or dam built up. Little barricade for the spider bits there. And I'm going to fall into the spider pits. This is presumably a mine that has been since barricaded off. Now, how do I get out of here? I don't want to be stuck with the spider eggs. Awesome. Purple shroom. Okay, I think we've, again, made a wrong turn here. Let me just... I love this part. You can see how they're so blended so well, you could easily just wander off into the other plot without even realizing it, other than the name changing on the screen. Again, I'm kind of just walking around the edges for the most part, and then we'll get into the center of it shortly. I like this little, it's not exactly a gazebo or a house, it's kind of a in-betweening, sort of, using the hollow domes and then the Oran windows and the pillows and the carrot rug. This part here is the tree table. A nice little picnic spot or meeting spot for a small group or couple. Nice little overlook as well. Again, look at the 2x4s, how many pieces are used just for this little platform. Again, not fully furnished, but it's probably one of those things, either they run out of space or it's one of those that they're working on it. Let's see. Okay, and then it looks like the entrance, this particular plot is over here somewhere. Yeah, so if you zoned in to this one individually, this is where you'd pop up and you'd start your adventure. Again, I'm just kind of doing a little spiral, slowly getting to the center, sort of. don't want to get too far off track here. Hey Thefia, we're enjoying it. Maybe you can help. I couldn't find the witch doctor's hut today. I tried, but I couldn't find it. So maybe we'll try and catch that before we log off. Here's like the Lop slash Orin Village. A lot of these come with the Lop fab kit and not fab kit, decor kit from the shop that comes with like the Kurg NPC. Some of the Lops you get like there's a hay pile in a bucket thing. There's these string lights, the tents, and some piles of crates and things. That all comes as part of it, and they've just turned it into a little village scene down here. Again, a lot of these rock features are the ruby-eyed thinkerheads. The place where we come out. Yeah, I keep like repeating myself because I get a little lost in here. For shame, for shame. Here's the main house. We'll go inside that shortly. Okay, I'll try and remember that. I kept going over and over and over, and I was like, dang it, I know it's here somewhere, but I couldn't figure it out. Told you, I'm really terrible. I think this is the garden fab kit here. And then they've just kind of built around it. And then I don't know what the name of this fab kit is, but this actually is part of the like an Orin themed. I believe this is an actual interior. And I think it comes partially decorated, but then you can add to it. For anyone that hasn't seen, this is one of the newer fab kits that actually comes with an interior that you can use. It's pretty nifty. There's also like the casino one, and what's the other one? There's something else. I can't remember what it's called. There's the haunted house fab kit. There's the Protostar winter house, I think. Also has an interior. A lot of builders have found clever ways of kind of integrating them into their plot workings. Arborean Festival fab kit. Thank you. Again, I don't really do fab kits, so I tend not to remember their names, which is probably bad, but you know, since I'm trying to be informative, but I don't pay attention to them too much. Here's the interior of that. We saw the terrace part up above, and this is the down below. They've just built it in to mesh with the roots of the mangrove tree that this is a part of. I made a nice little building structure, again using those triangle pieces nicely. Finally got the cubic NPCs. A lot of people have been cheating using some of the Ichthian decor to try and create little NPCs of the cubics, but with the NPC animal pack, you get a lot of these, the Jabbits. I think there's some WildStar and the cubics and the dawn grazers and such. So it's been very helpful. Beyond that, if you can't afford that or don't want to spend money on that, a lot of people have been using the corpses. I think the favorite one is the Primera corpse because it's the least damaged. It just looks like the cat's laying there asleep. But I've been one of those that uses the roan it looks kind of disturbing because the tongue's like lolling out and obviously has like a wound on the side. But if you kind of cover it up cleverly, then you can kind of get away with it. The same cannot be said for all of the corpses, obviously, because some are greatly more damaged than others, but one of those things. This is one of the Biodome fab kits, I think, or Celestion. And then they've just added in, again, it's cleverly integrated, so you can't even tell where the fab kit starts or stops. I think you get to this one via the root, and then we'll find a staircase for it somewhere else. So here's another one of those platforms. Again, the 2x4s, and just makes it look like it's part of it. Just sleeping, yeah. Because I know a lot of the builders, that was like the first like pet that people would try to, they'd have food bowls and stuff inside their residence, and they'd have that dead Pumera laying there, the corpse, for to make it look like there was a kitty pet. I was like, that's kind of disturbing, but clever thinking. Again, whenever a new item comes out, there's always a rush for builders to kind of figure out, okay, how can I use this beyond what it's intended to be used for. Okay, I'm trying to backtrack to the main house here. Where is that thing? Now, I know there's some stairs to the side of it. Yeah, here's the house itself. Now it's blinged out a little bit. There's some added windows and such. And they've added on this whole decking stairway and track so that you can get to the little port pad for their home transport here. Now, if I remember rightly, maybe this one doesn't work. There was one of the Orin houses that you can actually go inside the center. It's a good hide spot if you're playing hide and seek with your friends. Okay, let's go inside here if I can find the door. Again, a lot of builders, especially newer ones, always fussed about the Orin homes and the cozy versions of the homes because they had the round walls, and of course this one has really wonky shaped floors and such. I always loved how people figured out how to kind of just get around that or make it work. And something like this, like with the banister or the railing here, kind of following the route. I've seen various ways of people tackling it, but this works nice. It's just kind of sections it off just a little bit, make it look a nice, cozy, like living room style. Here's one of the newer waterfalls again. Nicely added in for a little water feature for inside. Curved walls, tubes, I guess, for this part. Over here, now I think there was a screenshot of the spacious house that actually had built-in shelves, but I think these are player made. There's this tree root here, but I don't think it comes with the shelves. I think these are orange shelves that have been stuck in to make it look like it's part of it. I could be wrong, but I don't remember it being there before. And of course, the fireplace is just curved glass and tubes or cylinders. for this part. It's multiple shades to get different textures. Got the Draken version, the Orin version, and the Exile version. And then two, this was always fun. It's really just a single tunnel running down, but it has this open space here, and it was always interesting to see builders how they might utilize that extra space. And a lot of them have done just like this, not the same exact setup, but have found ways to incorporate another room or a utility space. And so here we have the little kitchen, which is adorbs. You've got Orin dressers for this loaf of bread. It's basically just a bunch of toasts sandwiched together. Now some get a little fancier. I've done it myself, where we like size it down gradually so that it's more like a tapered loaf. It's smaller on the ends and it gradually gets bigger in the middle. The kitchen sink, it's an actual decor piece that you can get from finishing the challenge, or I guess you get a chance of getting it. I don't know if it's a guaranteed prize or not, but if you can finish the Boxing Gym Fab Kit challenge, I think it's like 8 opponents you have to get through, then you get a chance at this. But again, if you're looking for the towels, the carrot one and then the striped one, if you can just make it through the first 4 opponents, you get a chance of 50-50. It's either the striped or the carrot one, and just keep doing that. You just get the towel, run away from the fab kit, it fails, you go back, reset it, start it again, and you can just do that over and over and over. You don't have to wait the 30 minutes before the reset of the thing, as long as you don't complete the challenge. If you just fail it right after the 4th, it sounds kind of cheaty, but that's what I've done when I needed to have a bunch of those towels. So again, I imagine doing the spiral staircase by hand, or just trying to figure out the math of it on your own, is a pain in the rear. But if you use Katya's Builder Toolkit, the KBT add-on, that becomes a cinch. There's some tutorials, obviously, that you can locate. I've got a few of them linked on the resources section on my Twitch channel page that you can look up, and a lot of them cover that specifically, because it's like one of the biggest helper aids that people figured out. I mean, there's other stuff like the interactables and being able to search decor and search plots and all kinds of things, but I think that was like a really big deal. Fliss, I'm honestly not sure about the level requirement, if there is one. I think there's a level requirement for building it on the plot, but I think to utilize it, if you can find a plot with it on there, I don't think there's a specific thing, because it's not like you're using actual spells from your character for like damage. It comes with its own special buttons. It's like some kind of, I don't know, boxing themed kind of deal. You have like a dodge and a punch, I think, or something. So I don't think the level should have anything to do with it. The only thing is, like, if you're actually trying to build that particular fab kit on your plot, I think it might. I know there's some that were level specific, but beyond that, I don't know. But yeah, I think you do have to get past the 4th to even get an initial prize. It's like, I call it the halfway prize. I don't remember the opponent names or anything, but yeah. But again, I really honestly can't say, because I really didn't start doing challenges and stuff like that until I was already maxed, so it could be one of those things tied to it. I think they're not bind on pickup, so if you can kind of become buddy-buddy with someone that's higher level, you can always ask them to work out a deal with you, possibly. Again, this is a non-decorated area, so it's probably something that was maybe just recently added, and or the decor count limits. The bane of a lot of builders is the decor space allotted. especially if they're going into a lot of detail, that can pose issues. Nice little waterfall scene. Again, I imagine this is probably a work in progress thing. Stepping stones here, and then I believe this part here is kind of recolored to that same gray. I think these are the, what you call it, that purple rock arch, and it's not purple anymore. Oops, got stuck. Okay, I think that's it for the interior on that one. Let's see, did I miss anything? Let me look at the list here. We got the Oran Lot Village, the main building, the landing pad on the roof of the main house, the house on the tree, we got that one. Got the relaxation area. I think that's the one that had like the what I call the half gazebo kind of thing. Google Shrine, tree outpost, top left corner. Abandoned mine, entrance only. Got that one. Yeah, I think we got that. Did I check the upper floors? Did I miss that? I might have. Get talking and kind of distracted. Let me go back. Oh no, we didn't go here, did we? Thank you for pointing that out, Thief. You see, it's good to have people with know what the heck they're talking about, because obviously I don't. Here's some of those crates that you get with the LOP decor pack. This one here, and I think this one too. See, I like again, I always like check out how people divvy up their spaces, because it's all one big room and then they are able to change it. And no, not that ugly toilet. For shame. Well, sometimes it's okay even if it's not fully decorated, because again, it gives an idea of what you start off with and how, I mean, people could come into these rooms and go, wow, I could put a dresser here and a sink there, and this would be good for this or that, and I could put a towel rack on this side, and you know, sometimes it's nice. I've streamed a lot of incomplete homes, probably to the chagrin of their builders, but sometimes it's just nice to see how they started off. Because a lot of times once a place is completed, it's really hard to pick apart how they, not just the decorations that go inside a structure, but how the structure itself is put together. Excuse me. Whew. Ugh, that kind of hurt my brain. Sorry. Oh gosh. Awesome. Anyway, I think we're gonna have to get close to wrapping this up. Oops. I'm gonna see if I can run over to the other plot to see if we can find the witch doctor house real quick. I'm hoping we've covered most of this one. I think all the places I named we checked off already. Let's see. I like the little ladder system here, even though you can't actually use it like ladders. You can kind of just hop around. Let me see if I can meander my way back. Probably quicker if I just use the crystal thing. This, I think, takes us to the taurine part that we visited. Okay, so it's supposed to be... Did I bypass it again? Oh, man. Am I getting warm? Go past the giant sword, then right? This right or my... You're right. See, I'm lost again. Okay, here's the giant sword. Which way? Okay, the other way. Let me see, I'm lost again. Okay, I'm gonna look at the sword and then you tell me which way to go. Backwards. This way. To the right here? I feel like I'm... Hey, wait a minute, there's another big sword. Back. Here? Oh, here it is. Ah, we found it. Okay, so let me just go back to reorient here. So when you come up on the big sword here, where the brownstone is, come to the right and kind of, I guess this totem here is a clue that there's a little nook here, and that's where the cabin is. So it's 2x4s, pillars, and then that tiki roof that everybody loves. And this is kind of a little witch doctor. I like how it's tiered even. Just to add a little extra oomph to the structure. I'm glad we found it because I looked for it and I just completely went. And I felt bad because I told them this. It was like the first thing you showed me and I completely forgot. Alrighty, so that gets us through the first two plots. We still have the three to go. So we'll do our best to cover them tomorrow. If it happens to string out further, then we'll just finish it off on Friday, but maybe we can make it through. Now, if you happen to watch this video later in full Thefia and you see something that I have glaringly overlooked, feel free to drop me a note and I'll try and cover it tomorrow before we move on to the others. But the message that you sent me, I only got descriptions for some of the community sections and then the first two plots. I didn't get anything for the third one. So just a heads up on that. if you want to make sure that's included. I don't know if the message got cut off. Man, I'm like so lost here. I don't know if the message got cut off or what, but just thought I'd say. Trying to get back to the second one. I have like an ending spot here, but oh, fiddlesticks. Anyway, reminder, again, there's maintenance today, so heads up on that. I think it's supposed to last about 3.5 hours. So get your playtime in now if that's what you're aiming for, so you don't miss out. And if you can, drop in with us tomorrow, same time, close to 8 a.m. CET time. And we will continue on from Farash's plot into the next one. I don't know why I'm going up here, but there you go. Get a good overview of the rocky part. I love this part here. But yeah, hope you guys, if you can't join us, I hope you guys have a great weekend and stuff. As of right now, I think things are a go for next week and onward. If anything comes up before then, or like I get another impromptu dentist visit, I will be sure and tweet that out so that people can know not to expect the streams for then. But as far as I know, everything should be good to go. Like I said, the next major appointment won't be until mid-March, and I don't think it's on a Wednesday. Usually when I make appointments for something, I try to make sure it's not on Wednesday. I was like, don't make it on Wednesday. But this last time for last week, I totally wasn't even paying attention. Because with the dentist, if typically if it's something major that they got to do, they could make you wait, a month or more. And so you just take whatever day they are willing to give you. And, damn the consequences. But when they give you an option, I try to make sure it's not landed on the same day. But that said, things do come up, so I will be sure and let you know. So just, kind of check out the Twitter feed every now and then, and I'll let you guys know. Anyway, for those of you that were able to join us, thank you. We appreciate it. It's always nice to have folks to chat with while we're running through these builds. Again, we try to kind of cover a lot of aspects of the housing. We give like little tips and tricks, but if you have questions, feel free to drop me a note. You can leave it on the YouTube comments if you want, via Twitch PM. You can even PM me on the forums. I go by the same name basically there, so it's not hard to find me. In-game messages I tend to be kind of lax on because, again, I don't have a lot of time to log into the game as often as I did before. Usually I only come in once or twice a week, mostly to kind of get things set up for our tours. But if that's the only way you can reach out to me, that's perfectly fine as well. You can find all of my character names that I actually visit semi-regularly on the info part of the Twitch channel page. But if you really are desperate to get in touch with me, stick with my main, which is Carrot Greenleaf. I don't really go on Dominion side too much, but you can reach me there if you just refuse to go exile for a short time, and that would be Melancholy. I have characters on NA as well if you need to reach me via that way, but again, probably the best is Twitter, through the forums, or through Twitch, because those I definitely check on a regular basis. So yeah, in the meantime, good luck with any projects you're working on. Again, we're going through the competition winners from the Community Showdown. It's slow going. We're making it through that. I think I'm not quite sure if we're halfway through the list, but getting there. But never fear, if you weren't in the competition or still working on your community or individual plot, it's not like we'll never get to yours. Obviously, if you know of a place or have a place that hasn't yet been toured or has drastically changed from the last time we toured it, Feel free to drop me a note with the information on that, and I'll be happy to add it to the list. I keep an ongoing string of names of places that we want to visit eventually. I just can't guarantee when that will happen. It's something that continually grows and changes depending on the themes that I'm looking for and whatnot. Speaking of themes, I know we've got the Valentine's holiday coming up. Um, there are a few places I could probably point out, but I don't know of any newly built ones. If you happen to know of a romantic or Valentine themed plot that we haven't toured yet, feel free to drop me a note and I might try and include that in a special little holiday stream. But what I'll probably do is just link a couple of old videos for those that might have missed it or been unaware that we actually showed some places in that regard so that they can kind of check them out. Um, but yeah, that's all I can think of. So yeah, thanks guys for joining us. Hope you had fun. Hope it inspires you to do some fantastic builds of your own. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.